Hey there. Today we're going to tackle a super useful part of English. How do you say something has less of a quality than something else? Okay, so we all know how to say a car is more expensive than a bicycle, right? That's the easy part. But what if you want to say it the other way around? How would you start the sentence with a bicycle? Well, that's exactly what we're going to master right now. So here's the great news. English actually gives us two fantastic options to express this idea. Let's dive right in and break them down. Okay, so the two magic phrases are less than and not as. Now, the number one thing you've got to remember is that they mean the exact same thing. Seriously, you use them when you want to say that one thing has a smaller amount of some quality when you compare it to another. And just like that, we've solved our original problem. Take a look. You can say a bicycle is less expensive than a car, or you can say a bicycle is not as expensive as a car. They are completely interchangeable, two different ways to say the exact same thing. Pretty cool, huh? Let's try another one, just to make sure it sticks. Think about high heels versus sneakers. You could say high heels are less comfortable than sneakers. Or you could say high heels are not as comfortable as sneakers. Again, both are 100% correct. Super simple, right? Well, mostly. You know how it is with English, right? There's almost always a little exception, a little rule you have to watch out for. And this topic is no different. There's one really important one you've got to know. All right, so lean in for this part. This is the one little detail that can trip people up sometimes. But honestly, once you get it, you'll never forget it. So here it is, the phrase less than. It just doesn't play well with short adjectives. We're talking about those little one-syllable words, like big, cheap, or small. And it also doesn't work with adjectives that end in y, like funny, happy, or easy. For those types of words, less than is basically off limits. Okay, let's look at this in action. How does this sentence sound to you? A car is less big than a bus. Yeah, sounds a little weird, right? That's because big is a one-syllable word. So we have to use the other option. The right way to say it is, a car is not as big as a bus. See? That sounds much better. And it's the exact same deal for words ending in y. If you said, this movie is less funny than the other one, it doesn't sound natural. The correct way, the way a native speaker would say it is, this movie is not as funny as the other movie. You can totally hear the difference, can't you? All right, enough with the theory. You've got the main rule, you've got the one big exception. So what do you say we put it to the test? Time for a quick check to see if it's all sinking in. You ready? Okay, first question. We're comparing vegetables and chicken using the word expensive. How would you say that? Go on, think about it for a second. And hey, quick hint, there might be more than one right answer here. And the answers are in. So expensive is a longer adjective, right? That means it follows the main rule. You can say vegetables are less expensive than chicken, and vegetables are not as expensive as chicken. Both are perfect. Awesome job if you got both of them. Okay, on to number 2. This time, we're comparing designer shoes to regular shoes with the adjective cheap. Now, be careful with this one. Remember that little exception we talked about? And the only correct answer is, designer shoes are not as cheap as regular shoes. Why just one? Well, because cheap is a classic one-syllable word, which means we can't use less than. We have to go with not as. Did you see that one coming? All right, last question for this round. How would you compare streets in the country to streets in the city using the word crowded? Go ahead, form that sentence in your head. Yes, you got it. Crowded is a longer adjective, so we're right back to our main rule. That means you can say less crowded than or not as crowded as, and both are perfect. See, you're totally getting the hang of this now. Amazing job on that quick check. You've seen the rule, you've seen the exception, and you've put it into practice. So let's just wrap this all up with a quick summary to make sure this stuff is locked in for good. So really, it all comes down to this. First, remember that less than and not as usually mean the exact same thing. Second, just watch out for those short little adjectives, the one-syllable ones or the ones ending in y. You can't use less than with those. And third, here's the best tip of all. If you're ever in doubt, just use not as. It's always a safe bet because it works for every adjective, no exceptions. Okay, before you go, I've got one final challenge for you. Don't just listen, actually do it. Look around the room right now. I'm serious, do it. Find something and compare it to the shirt you're wearing right now. Use the word colorful. Is that thing less colorful than your shirt? Go on, try to make the sentence out loud. Actually using this stuff is the fastest way to make it stick. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll catch you in the next one.